And he starts talking. We go, come on, Steve, you got to unmute yourself. So anyway, awesome. So I thank you for joining, everybody. I appreciate it. My name is Craig Carlton. I am the senior trainer here at Connected Investors. I'm also an investor, probably not to the level of all of you all, but I've been investing since 2015. So not a huge amount of time, but I'm very much like Karen. I've got an almost 30-year background in sales and marketing. I know you wouldn't know that. I'm only 25, but no, I'm just kidding. Uh, no, I've been in sales and marketing a lot, and when I got involved in real estate, it was just a really natural fit. Give you just a quick background. I learned real estate with a group out of Arizona. I spent 5 years with them. I worked for their company. I learned every single thing about real estate that I could possibly learn in that 5 years. Did deals, worked with a group of mentors, and then in 2020. I was sort of out of the blue connected to a gentleman named Ross, who was the previous owner of our company. It was a very fast, easy mix that we made. They needed someone to help them sort of train and retain and help their individuals that were using the software. It was just a natural fit for me. So what I do now is I'm the head trainer for all of our CI stuff. I work with our internal team. I do all of the training. So anything that you would see from a video standpoint, I've generated it and created it all. I am not a professional video generation guy, but I do know the content. So while there's a lot of great content, sometimes it's not as pretty as some of the fancy stuff, but it's all about content, in my opinion. So I spent the last month learning our software, and I will just sort of kind of upfront, there are a couple of little glitchy things that are happening. One thing is the exports. For some reason, we're having a challenge spitting data out, but that's just because of the platform itself. We just launched it a week ago today. The official launch was a week ago today. So we do have some minor little things, just a heads up so that there won't be any surprises. What I will say is I love the new platform. Does anybody that's on the call, did anybody have the previous version aside from you, Karen? Was there anybody else that looked at it or saw it or had any sort of familiarity with it?
The old version, yes, we've got several on here that were part of the old platform.
Fantastic. So then let me say it like this. If you know the old platform, you're going to love the new platform because it's completely different. All the data, the content is all great, but it's different. If you've never seen it before, you're going to love it because it's very familiar looking. We did that very intentionally. It looks like other products. And so one of the things that I want to do is be able to share my screen. So I don't know if, it looks like you've already given me the access to do that. So let me go ahead and do that.
Should have it, yes.
Yeah, let me go here to my dashboard, hit share, and let me know when y'all can see my screen and everything is good there.
Yes, sir.
Fantastic. And if you need it to be bigger or smaller or whatever, just give me a heads up and I'll change the ratios. But what I wanted to do, so I don't know if I'll say this anyway. So you do not have to have an absolute account in order to access some of the training that we provide. So every Monday through Friday, I do an hour-long training, and it's sort of what I'm going to do today is a super, super condensed version of that 5.5, 6 hours worth of training. I'm going to give you the highlights, the stuff that I think is really valuable and important. But you can also go to our website without logging in and still access the Success Center, which has all of those pre-recorded trainings there. And then every other Tuesday night, not this Tuesday, but next Tuesday, we have a training as well. So just throwing that out there if you're interested in looking at it. I think the best way to start is to say this. The old version was chopped up. It was very kludgy. You had the easy mode, you had the advanced mode, you had to go lots of windows changing, and just it was not very, while I liked the output, it was sometimes challenging to work with. The new system is so much nicer. So one other question, I don't see the chats. How does everybody get their leads? Like, because you're all in real estate, how do you get your leads, your prospects? Just how do we
Type
do
it
it?
in there, guys. Throw it in the chat.
Yep. And I lost control of the chat and stuff like that, so I don't know what they're saying. I can't see
I'll
the
tell
chat
you.
box anymore.
Yeah. Come on, people. Put it in there.
I went to a real
Let's
estate
see.
agent conference last year, and I asked folks. We were as a, doing a display. I asked folks, how are you getting your deals? 99% of the people were like, "Oh, I just get them from referrals,"
Yeah.
which
So
I didn't understand. But
we've got Driving for Dollars,
yep,
Various and Messy, Facebook Marketplace, website, referral agents, Facebook and Driving. Uh, MLS in the past, Bird Dog, Driving for Dollars, wholesalers, agents, driving, foreclosures, direct mail.
Right. Not one of those was a lead source. Those are all actions that you would take to find leads. What I mean is, how are you locating 123 Main Street? Do you have to drive for dollars, or do you have the ability to do a search and pull it up? Because that's what I'm going to show you today. Imagine saying, hey, I want to look at all of the available properties in 33543. Imagine that. Or saying, hey, I love Pasco County, Florida, which is where I am. I want to see all of the pre-foreclosures that are in Pasco County. In a few moments with our software, you can find all of them that are available through the public record. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you a couple of sizzly things, and then we'll dive into an actual search. So the way the software is built, it's dashboard based. So what I mean by that is everything is a dashboard. So your dashboard is a dashboard, which gives you access to properties and cash buyers. It's sort of a high level overview. Your lists, and I'll talk about this in just a second, is sort of the backbone. It's the foundation of our software. It's called list stacking. I know you had mentioned, Karen, a gentleman from REI Black Book. The reason I'm saying it to you is he actually talked about list stacking when we were at the conference a week or two ago. And so I know that we're in the right track. List stacking is really important, and I'll explain that to you. This is its own platform, its own little dashboard. Then you have your find your deals, so you can do a quick property search. There's 4 or 5 different ways to do a property search. It's super easy. Cash buyers. Imagine being able to, in a matter of a couple of minutes, go into your zip code and say, hey, I've got a property over here on Main Street. Are there anybody in this area that's buying property? Within a matter of 3 or 4 minutes, with a couple of filters, you can find cash buyers using our tool. And it's not the hack. If you all remember the old version, it was you found a property, you see an address, and you have to go look for that address and cutting and pasting. No more. Now it's all built right into the software. So super powerful. The other thing is the evaluate, the find comps, and the calculator tool. This is so valuable. As an investor, one of the things that I personally struggled with when I first started was running my comps and then figuring out the calculations. What numbers do I plug in? We have them built into the software. So the moment you pick up a property and you do a couple quick things with it, you can run a comp on it. And the comp is brilliant. Running calculators. You could do a property flip. You could do a buy and hold. You could do a wholesale. So we have a bunch of different things built right into the software. And then we also, just if you're interested, we have funding. So any property that you find, there's a one-click button to get funding for it. You can reach out to our group of private lenders to see if they might be interested in working with you on a deal. And then the other thing is this, the connect. The collaboration in the My Teams is important. You guys are all part of teams. You're all a group, right? You're all sort of connected in one way or another. And what our software does is it allows you to have additional team members, kind of like the old one, but in a much better way. And then you also have this thing called collaboration. And collaboration is if Karen and Leslie and Kimberly all wanted to discuss a deal, well, you could do it right inside the software with something called collaboration, where you basically invite them to your notepad. It's really, really cool the way that it works. You're not seeing their database, you're just seeing the lead or the prospect itself. I love the way it works. So it's a pretty cool way for, knowledge sharing. Hey, I've got a good deal. You're talking to somebody across country. They love this. Hey, I got this property. What do you think? So there's ways for you to connect as well. And, the company's name is Connected Investors. So it kind of goes hand in hand. All right. Now, I did want to do one quick thing before we get into the demo, and I'll be done with this part of it. I'm going to jump into the Success Center real quickly. So when you first log onto the page, here's where all of our additional trainings are. So every day, Monday through Friday, I do a training. You do not need to be logged into our software to be able to watch these trainings. So if at the end of this, you've got lots of questions, maybe you want to test drive it a little more like Karen says, there's an easy way for you to go in, watch the videos, and then she'll present you with the NC RIA option, whatever that might be. But you come in here, you sign up for the training, and then if you miss one and you want to go back and watch it, scroll down to the bottom, and here's the replays each day. So, I'm going to say a lot of things today, but I'm certainly not going to say it all. You can go there to get the rest of it right there. That's the scoop. So awesome. All right. So let's go back into the software. And what I want to do is somebody spit out a county that they're in. Karen, let me know what county they're in.
All right. Orange.
Harris County.
Orange County, California. Is that what they said? Is that Orange County,
No,
California? Or
Orange,
County,
North
Florida?
Carolina.
Orange County, North Carolina. Oh my gosh, there's orange counties all over the country, aren't there?
Yes,
I love
there
it.
are.
All right. So in order to do a search in Orange County, North Carolina, super easy. Okay. All we're going to do is remember, you can get to a property search a half dozen different ways with our software. I promise. The simplest way is the navigation right here, hit property search, and there you go. Now, what it's doing is it's automatically starting to add my area that I first joined up in. So right now, whenever I come in here, it automatically goes to my location. What I want to do though, is I want to get rid of my location. I just simply hit the X, and now I'm going to type in, let me see if I can do this without Orange County. I'm actually going to type the whole thing. Now, like the old software, you got to wait for it to drop down. Once it drops down, you're going to choose it. So we'll go ahead and hit Orange County, North Carolina. Now, I don't know what's going to show up here. This is completely random. Perfect. All right. So this is just a little expander. So right now, there's 56,647 properties that have some kind of motivation. We don't know what those motivations are off the top of our head, but we know we got a bunch. Now, one other thing, if you all remember who had the old software, and I'm referring back to it because I love the way this works now. You used to have to plug in your filters and then hit search and then kind of keep your fingers crossed to get some good results. The software works differently. What it's doing is it's automatically, as you're adding filters, pulling from that database and rendering results on the fly. So you're not going to just go in and push a button and then see what happens. You're going to start adding filters, and then you're going to be able to watch those filters adding and subtracting, and it's really cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with our first filter. How is the screen? It's a little small, but can you all see it okay?
Yeah, pretty good.
Oh, okay, good. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to come up here to the filter. And then let me show you real quickly. We have an absolute monstrous number of filters that you can work with. There's over 200 now, different filters that you can work with. And why is that important? The reason it's important is there's a lot of different exit strategies. You could be doing a subject to, you could be doing a buy and hold. Maybe you're just looking to do some micro flipping. Different filters generate different results. That's all. And so the idea is that as you're using the software, there's some pretty standard ones: vacant, absentee, 30% equity, own it for 3 years. That's a pretty common filter, but you can slice and dice this thing hundreds and hundreds of different ways. So just be overwhelmed by all of these different filters. So the first thing we have is motivated, and then we have the off market. It's just our statuses that we call them. They're sort of in-house things. The first one is the first one is our property status. Now we have this broken down a little bit differently. So when you're doing a search, you can see down here in the bottom, we've got all of our results. There's 56,000. When you're doing a search, you're going to start with your property status. This is going to be an OR. What I mean is, if I chose pre-foreclosure, that's what it's looking for. Do you see how it dropped down to 9? So it went from 54,000 down to 9. That's legit. If I were to add, say, personal lien, what it's going to do is it's going to add them. So it's not saying that I want it to be pre-foreclosure and a personal lien. It's saying pre-foreclosure or a personal lien. So there's a distinction there. You can get the and statement by adding a filter below. So why would you do this? Maybe you're looking for a list of pre-foreclosure and then some other distress, but there's not a whole lot, right? So in the pre-foreclosure, there was only 9. And that's a list. You can certainly work with those 9 folks, but it's kind of a numbers game that we're playing when we're doing real estate. So I would then just say, okay, well, let's just add another filter and see what happens. Now I've got 258. So what I did was, I'm not pushing buttons and then kind of hoping that I get a result. I'm choosing here. I'm going through and I'm seeing what happens when I hit property lien. What happens when I hit tax delinquent? This is something you could never do before. I like this because what it's doing is it's helping me understand which filters are the best. I have some preconceived notions. I have some things I think, oh, this is going to be great. But what it's doing is it's helping you kind of filter through without having to sort of wait and see. I hope that makes sense the way that I'm saying it. There's a distinction here. So what I'm going to do is I'll just show you how to do a very simple search, and then you can add and subtract, and there's so many different ways you can do it. So let's actually get rid of the pre-foreclosure. And I want to go to vacant. I just want to see, what does the vacant number look like? 406. As a micro flipper wholesaler, that's my favorite, is a vacant property. These are properties where the owner usually doesn't live there, more likely to sell. Again, I can choose other distresses if I want to, but I'm not going to. Now, there's one other little thing right here. This is key. If I just wanted to see vacant and then no other sort of specific distinction, I could just choose it the way that it is. But what I really want is, I want vacant, but I would like a few other filters, but I'm not married to any other specific filter. I would just like to see other filters. What other motivations might be on this property? So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to select only show properties with 2 or more motivations. This is a little trick that I've learned. And then here's the key. I'm going to create a list for vacant like this. I'm going to create a list of auction like this, a list of pre-foreclosure, and I'm going to let it decide for me which properties fit the bill, because I'm going to do something called list stacking. Now, list stacking is really straightforward. The idea is that the more times a property shows up on a unique list, the more likely that that property is to be available for a sale. It just is the way that it is. What I mean by that is, if I did a property search for vacant, right? What's the likelihood that a vacant is also going to be a free and clear property? Or what's the likelihood that a vacant might have a property lien? The answer is, it's highly likely. But I don't want to force it into vacant and a property lien. I want to just see, what are my vacants? What are my property liens? I like to do it that way because I want to create those lists. I want to have a bunch of different lists. Now, you don't have to do it that way. You could have a massive list. It's got pre-foreclosure, auction, probate, vacant, whatever you want. You're still going to get some results. But the name of the game is finding and curating the best list. So I'll do vacant. I'll say only show me properties that are vacant as the main motivation plus more. Okay. And we'll just keep it simple for the time being. The next thing is my property type, the characteristics of the property. So do I want single family, multifamily? Well, I love this. I can just hit single family and see what shows up. There's 221. What if I put multifamily in there? Oh, it just added a few more. So I wonder what those other properties were. Well, let's just find out what they were. There's a couple townhouses, a couple condos. Heck, there's even some vacant land in there. I don't want all of those things, but see how quickly I can just decide, oh, I don't want that. I like the way this looks. To me, and again, I'm going to keep beating this one. I say this all the time in the training. This is my favorite feature of our software, is that results on a fly, because it really helps me as I'm going through and figuring out, well, which is the best filter for this specific motivation. So that's why I like it. Then you have obviously all of the same filters. You can do it by beds and baths and square footage. If you're a land person, I think land is really awesome, especially in Florida. You can choose your lot sizes if you want to. So if you want to get that standard 10,000 square foot lot, maybe you're looking for a half acre, you can actually look for property based on the land size. We also have some additional advanced filters. So you can look for properties by the age, building condition. With this one, trust it but verify, right? We don't know the exact condition of a property. We're relying on the public record. So the idea is that you can either choose a specific type of condition, I would say trust it but verify, or just kind of leave it there and see what happens. Stories, units, etc. Then you can also include or exclude a bunch of different things: garages, basements, pools, attics, all kinds of cool stuff. Oh, and then another one I like is the property type. So here is where I could double stack it. I would say I want single. I can double stack by using the status, but I could also say, well, I only want to look at single family residences or townhomes or cluster homes. This is where I can get granular with the type of property. So look at all of these different: row house, timeshare, bungalow. Someone asked what a landominium was. I don't have a clue what a landominium was. Does anybody know what a landominium is? I've never heard of it before. I've been doing this for over a decade. Never heard of a landominium. We got them if they're there. Barn dominium, tiny homes, multifamily. So all these different motivations, different types of property that you can choose from. Amazing. And then zoning code, right? So you're a builder, you're looking for land, you need a specific zone. You can do the search by the zoning code right here. Love it. Next thing we have is our ownership information right here. And again, any of these, I kind of leave it as any, especially when it's one of those that's like maybe a tax lien or a personal lien. You don't need to have them moved out of the property in order to get a good deal. They might still be open. But I'll do any here. The location, if you wanted to add the out of town, out of state, you could do that. That would say, hey, these people are like in a different state of the property. Really powerful. Owner type. This is the other one that I like, is the individual. The reason that I do that is we do have a lot of LLCs, a lot of people that are working in trust that are businesses. Those aren't going to skip trace as easily. The ones that are individuals are the most likely to skip trace. What I do with the ones that don't skip trace is I send them a letter, I send them a postcard, try to find their physical address and reach out to them that way. And typically you're going to get that as part of the profile of the owner of the property anyway. So we can go there and check the different types of owners. Years of ownership is another one. As a wholesaler, I think right now it's more important than anything to have a property that's got 3 or 4 years under its belt. That way there's some equity. And if it does have a mortgage, it's probably going to have a lower interest than current rates today. Just something to consider as you're looking at it. You can search by properties for when it was sold, number of properties owned. That's actually a really cool feature with buyers. You can see how many properties they've got. And their portfolio amount. I'm going into kind of detail here because I want you to see all of the different filtering options. You don't have to use hardly any of them, but if you need to, they're all right there for you. So we've got our sale and value information. You can look by that with some additional advanced filters. Life and legal events. This is where you can add events like active liens, pre-foreclosure, when was it released, the different types of liens, any, code enforcement, if they are in the public record, there's a code enforcement recorded, you would see that. Child support, all different kinds of data that we have access to that we could never display before, but now we have it. Your dates for pre-foreclosure, lien amounts, what stage of the pre-foreclosure process a property is in. So you'll know if it's a notice of default, the list pendants, the auction. We couldn't choose by that before. That's really cool. Then we have our mortgage information, and this one's important as well. This is where you're going to choose your equity level. So if you're a wholesaler, you're looking to, find a little bit of meat on the bone, got to have a minimum of 30% or more equity for it to be a really good deal. So I would put 30%. I could also do a dollar amount if I wanted to. You can see right up here it was changing it, but we're going to go to the percentage. Loan to value, number of open loans, all kinds of filters. Again, I don't use every one of these because I keep it fairly simple, but they're all here for you to look at. And the truth is, I would go through and just play with it, pick them and see what shows up. You might find a really cool niche market that makes a lot of sense. In fact, I learned the years, the property, how many years a property was owned. That was like maybe 2 years ago. One of our coaches at the time was like, oh yeah, I always look for them to be at least 4 years old. And it really hit me. She was right. So anyway, and as you see, every time I choose some new filters, it's changing my results down here. All right. Then we have access to tax information, so you can see where they're at there. If there's any delinquent tax amounts, you could choose specifics, get granular. And then the last one is the desirability factor, so the location, so opportunity zones, HOAs, flood zones, etc. So you can choose by that. Now here's the one thing, there's a little button down here in the bottom, guys, and this is super key. So the way that our software is built is everything you do is you start with a search. So you do the search, and then what happens is you're going to get some results. So right now, this search is motivated, vacant, 2 or more motivations, off market, single family and multifamily. The owner is an individual, and they have 30% or more equity in this property. Right now, I've got 93 results. So the search generated some good results. Not a massive amount, but 93 is not bad. I'll work with that. I like the search. I like the criteria. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this search. Now, when I save the search, what I'm not doing is saving the result. What I'm doing is I'm just saving the criteria. I'm going to save the result into a list, which will be part of my list stacking. But here's the key. Down here in the bottom right-hand corner, it says hide properties previously added to a list. The reason that's important is, watch, I'll show you. So let's go to the results. It's super easy. I'm going to save them. You have to put it on a list. If you want to skip trace, if you want to run a calculation, if you want to save the comps, it's got to be on the list. We did this on purpose so that you don't lose it. You'll know where it is because it's on your list. So I'm going to select them all. and then I'm going to save them to a list. I'm going to call this one Orange County. It was North Carolina, right? Yeah, County
Yes.
Orange. Right, great, great. And then I'm going to hit Save Properties. Now I'm also, did I save the search? I don't think I saved the search, did I?
I don't think so.
Yeah, let me hit Save the Search. I would normally have done that first, but anyway. So Orange County, North Carolina. And this one, I'm just going to give it a quick definition. I'm going to call this one, what was this one? This was this vacant? This was vacant. Vacant, and then 30%. And then it was both single family and multifamily. All right, perfect. Now I'm going to save the search. Okay, now here's why I did that. If I get out of this altogether, here's my new list. This was the list that I had created from the search. So these 93 properties, it's its own little dashboard. This is also another thing that I love. This list gives you the overview of all the details. You can look at it on a map right here. And then you also have the new and improved workroom, which is really good. I won't get into the too many details here, but everything is based on your status. So you have the status, then you can change the statuses, and it will reflect inside of these right here. You don't see any because I don't have any statuses set. I reset them all the time. So but here's what I wanted to show you. So I'm going to go back to that original search that we just did. So let's go to the Save Searches, and I'm going to come up here. Now, this is what you will see. So if I came back in to do this search again today, right now, you're not seeing any results. And the reason is I've already got all of those results. I already pulled them out of this search. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait a month, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to see what shows up in a month. Remember, data's always updating. So the result was great. The search has got some good criteria. I could come back in a month. I could come back in a week, and maybe there's some more property in there. This is the way for you to never double up your efforts on the search, on this search. But if I did another search, right, and I had some of those same motivations criteria, but maybe a different primary motivation, some of these 93 properties are going to show up on that list as well. That's list stacking. Does that make sense when I say it like that?
Yes, that does. Craig, you had one question.
Yes.
Can I differentiate manufactured homes on land?
A great question. As a filter, I'll be completely honest, I'm not 100% sure. I know that we have mobile homes as an, well, manufactured and mobile are the same and different. There's manufactured houses, and then there's the mobile homes. So the answer is, I think manufactured is one of the filters that I have for the property type. I believe manufactured home is that. As far as on land, you would have to do a search by the lot size. So you could do a filter by the lot size as well. So if we came in here, actually, let's just do a new one. I don't think I have any manufactured or mobile in this area. So let me get rid of that. Let me go to Cleveland. That's a really good question. I love that. Let's find out. Cleveland, Ohio. I imagine there's some manufactured mobile homes in Cleveland. Yeah.
I bet you there are.
And then we're going to go to our filters. Now, what's funny is you see how all of these filters stayed here? The last filter set that you do is going to stay on the top, by the way. So it doesn't matter if you're in a new location or not. I could do this exact same search in this new area and then look at my results down here. It looks like there's some more. I'm going to hit the view results.
Oh, yeah.
So look at that. All of these properties off of this original filter, this original search. You see, that's the cool thing is, I don't even know how to explain this. The software is so intuitive. Like I used that search and it kind of knows that I liked it because I saved it. And then when I went into a new area, it was still all sitting right there. So I could use that if I wanted to, and then there's my results. Or I just hit clear and then get out of it. And then we'll see what happens here. It might update, it might not. That doesn't matter. We'll hit filter. And then what was this? What was it again? It was manufactured on land.
Yep, manufactured homes on land.
And then what are we looking for in terms of the motivation? What's the motivation of the manufactured home? Is it a vacant? Is it auction, personal lien, probate? What's the initial motivation?
Ginger, unmute.
Yeah, sure. So let's actually do vacant. And I'm curious, the vacant, is that just basically that the post office doesn't deliver mail there? Is that what's underneath that?
It's the public record of the post office, Ginger. Great question. And that's exactly how it works. So there is going to be a timing issue. You will call some of these vacants and they're like, no, it's not, excuse me, it's not vacant. I guarantee you it was vacant at one time. So,
Right.
and that's actually an underlying factor. If a property was vacant for any length of time, usually more than 3 months, the post office has to put it into their system, which means there was a big gap of time where this property was not rented, it wasn't being used. That's a burden. So anyway, go ahead, Ginger.
Awesome. So yeah, let's do vacant, and just for fun, let's do tired landlords.
Okay.
And
So we
let's-
actually, did you see what happened there?
Yep.
We went from 16,000 up to 65,000.
Wow.
Now, just so you know, tired landlord is someone who's over a certain age. I think it's 60 or 65, and they've had the property for more than 10 years, not as their primary residence. We're not saying that everybody that's over 65 that's owned a property for 10 years is tired, but that's where the tired landlords are in that
Awesome. And
scenario.
are those actually defined somewhere where you can actually see what the underlying?
Not on these sort of subcategories. There's nothing that's defined specifically.
Okay.
But it's something that we could certainly work on and adding a little pop-up definition. There's some definitions on some of them, but not on that one specifically.
Okay.
Great question.
Okay. Yeah, so I know my county, but let's see. So you're in Columbus, Ohio, right? We need to get that number down a bit.
We're in Cleveland, I think is what I chose, but
Right. So how about out of state owner? What does that do to us?
yeah, that's going to be an out of state owner. So what we're going to do is we're going to do it in the filter set below. So we're going
Okay,
to
perfect.
minimize this one. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go to owner status, ownership
Okay.
info, and we're going to come here and go out of town, out of state, like that.
Okay.
And then you'll see it right here, owner location, out of town and out of state, tired landlord and vacant. Now we're at 4363.
Wow. Okay.
Now the next thing, yeah, go ahead.
Is that the manufactured? Have you put that in?
Not yet. We haven't gotten there yet.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yep.
let's see what that does to it if you get the
Yeah,
manufacturer.
exactly. Let me minimize these guys so I can see all of this property type. So let's see. So in this case, it would be considered a single family. So
Right.
what we're going to do is we're going to do single family, but then we're going to add, I think it's here, property type.
There it is. Yep.
And so it's listed on our system as mobile manufactured because it's like that throughout the country. Sometimes it's mobile, sometimes it's manufactured.
Yeah.
So we're going to hit that one. And then it's going to take that number to,
Yeah, I think that's it. I think it dropped from like 4,000. It was about
oh,
twice
that's right. Yeah, that happened really fast. I didn't even notice it changed.
that. Yeah.
Perfect.
For sure. And so then if I wanted to zero in my geography a little bit,
Sure.
could from this place, could you kind of narrow that down using your map and like selecting an area or something like that?
Yeah, there's a couple of things that you could do here. One, the location is what you could change. You could keep everything else, all the filters the same, and then just change the specific location. So let's do that. So let's take rid of this location. The filter sets are still here well, you'll see them when we go back. Give me a specific zip code or a county that you want to look at, Ginger.
28462.
28642.
No, 462. 28462.
I'm sorry,
That's like
28462.
Yeah.
I'm dyslexic, sorry.
It didn't like that, did it? Huh.
No, it did. It
Oh,
just
okay.
probably just there's just nothing showing up because of the filter set that we have.
I
So it
gotcha.
looks to me like the filter set eliminated some things that may have been there. So what we would do is just go into the filters and say, is there anything in here we might want to remove? Well, I would remove the tired landlords first and foremost to
Yep.
see if that one helps. And that didn't do anything, and that's okay. So let's do this one more thing. Let's move the out of town, out of state and see what happens. Nothing there.
Oh.
Let's get rid of vacant.
There we go.
There we go.
And that
So
makes
it's the
sense, right?
So it's the vacant that's pulling it out. There's none that they're not considered vacant for whatever reason. But maybe there's a tired landlord there. There we go. 981 now.
Okay. Um, yeah, and I'd probably pull it on down to like let's say minimum 30% equity, maybe. We'll see what
Yep.
that does to our
Love
list.
that. Okay, so let's do that equity. Let's see, where is it? As you can see, I know the software, but I'm still getting used to it as well. It's a brand new car I'm driving over here. It's a lot of fun. Here it is, 30%. So we'll go 30% equity. Dropped it another 11. So now we're at 970.
Okay.
And then one of the things you mentioned was land. You were talking about the land
Yes,
size.
that's a
Yeah.
great point. Yep.
So let's see, where did my land go? Is it here? No, not here. Which one is it again? Oh, darn it. Where's my land? It's right here.
And these mobile home communities may have as little as 6,000 square feet on a
Right.
lot.
And the truth is, and you probably know this, some mobile home communities are the community, not the mobile homes themselves. So what'll happen is you'll do a search and you'll get this really strange result where it's the actual mobile home park, the whole thing. So when you see that, you just have to kind of bite your tongue a little bit. It doesn't happen a whole bunch, but sometimes you'll get a manufactured home, but it's the actual mobile home park itself. So I don't know why it does that. Now where's my land? So lot sizes. Wait, you were saying so like a mobile home or a manufactured that's on a plot of land, right? Bigger
Right.
than
So
a,
if you, I'm sorry, if you choose square feet and 6,000 as a minimum,
yep, okay.
see what that does. And we have some interesting laws too about whether the actual mobile home is affixed to the property and things like that. So
Okay.
it'll be fun to dig into some of that and
If it's
see.
got tires on it or something, isn't that one of the things?
Yeah, like a Tom Hill. Yep, you're
The
right.
tow hitch.
Yeah.
Love it. So when we did that, I dropped it another couple hundred. Now we're sitting at a 711. What I
Okay.
will tell you is this is a great search. This is 711 properties that if you were into manufactured mobile homes, you've got 711 swings you can take right now.
Yep.
So I'm going to save the search because I
That's
like it. So what I'm going to
Thank
do is I'm going to view the results. I'm going to save the search. Now what's cool is you see here how it popped on the screen. It says, oh, would you like to update your existing list or do you want to create a new list? No, I like the filters, but I need to save it as a new list. So we'll call this one, what was the zip code on that again?
28462,
Thank you so much. And then that is, what is that considered? Is that
Brunswick County, North Carolina.
North Carolina? Got it. NC. Perfect. And this one is, I'll call this one manufactured. And then 30%. I don't do too much here, but I do like to give up myself a little bit of a, an idea of what it is. And then I'm just simply going to hit save search. Now I want to save the list, right? Because I want to go in and skip trace. So all I do is grab it. I select all 711. I come over here, save all 711. And I'm so sorry. One more time. 28, what?
28462.
Thank you. NC, beautiful. Oops. All right, and then I'll hit save properties. So now I've got another list here. I can continue with the search, which I want to do because I want to show you something. Oh, you know what? I'm in the search right now. I'm not in the list. So I have to get out of the search. There's no results because we pulled them all out. So let's come over here to my list. And then there it is. And then let's just take a quick look at a property card so you can see everything that's inside of there. I'm going a little bit long, but is everybody okay so far? You're getting value out of what I'm sharing? Does this make sense?
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay, great. So again, here's my dashboard of this specific list, but here's the dashboard of all of the lists that we have. Well, this one right here, all 1,200 properties. So what I'll do is let it show up. Once it shows up, okay. Again, overview, map, workroom. Oh, it's not, it's gonna, this is glitchy when there's a massive amount of properties. That workroom glitches out. So that's a little bit too much for it, I think. All right, now let's just look at a card. All right, so we'll just grab one address. Now, it's not on more than one list right now, guys, but in order for it to be, you're just going to look right here. You'll see that it's currently sitting on a list, and the list is called 28462, North Carolina. Here's where you can add a collaborator. Remember how I was saying if Karen and Jinja and Leslie want to chat about this property, all you do is hit add collaborators, and you just enter their email address. So all you're doing here is adding their email address. And what it's going to do is it's going to go look for them, and it will invite them to, you'll invite them once you've got it. And then what they're going to have access to is your notepad. They won't have access to none of this stuff, but the notepad. And then here you have your notes, any calculations that you've run, any contracts, pictures, checklist, etc. there, mentions. And then the last thing is any activity. So anytime that Jinja goes in and does anything with it, Karen will see it. So it's really cool the way that that works that way. So that collaboration is really nice. To skip trace it, it's on a list. All I do is simply hit the skip trace button, guys. That's it. And what it's doing is it's skip tracing it right now. I'll go over to the contact information. It was skip traced. Let me make this a little bit bigger, I think, so you can see it. Whoop, wrong direction. So it was skip traced March 25th. Looks like I got an address that was different than the property address. So this is in North Carolina. We know that this person lives in West Virginia. So this address is the owner's address, or whoever is getting the tax bill, they're getting it at this address here. And as an investor, I love mailing addresses. It's the only place I ever send any kind of marketing. I never send it to property unless it's the mailing address. That way, you know, the owner's getting to it. So that's that. Now it looks, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, Craig, we do have a question in the chat just asking to see the mortgage information.
Yeah,
So
of course.
just displaying that on the screen.
Of course. Yeah. So let me show you how to get to it. Super easy. You ready? We're on the card. We're going to scroll down. We're going to go over 3 attributes, owner info, mortgage and sales history. If this information is available in the public record, we're going to have it. And so we know that in 1990, this house was purchased for cash. So there is no mortgage on this property. But it is tax delinquent, non-owner occupied, plus 5 other things. So tax delinquent, non-owner, tired landlord, senior owner, out-of-state owner, free and clear, high equity. So it's got a lot of little factors on it that say, hey, this property, I mean, it's got a tax delinquency. So it's the person that owns it would probably be open to selling it, at least for that much. So there you go. Go ahead.
There was one more question, Craig. Is there a deal grade for the property?
So we got rid of the deal grades. The deal grades were a little bit biased, in my opinion. We wanted everything to look good, but it wasn't the right way to do it. What we have is we have a new and improved buyability score. That's the key. So the buyability score used to be 0 to 50. Now what we've done is we've changed it, that there's no top to it. What we've done is we've added weightings to all of the factors now. Before it was just some of them, the way that I understood it. But now, if it's got a senior owner, that's got a weighting. If it's a tired landlord, that's a weighting. If there's a vacancy, it has a weighting. Not like waiting for something, but that weight, like giving it a weighting. And then what it does is it tallies all the numbers, and it will give you this buyability score. And it is AI. It actually is analyzing all of those factors and saying, hey, based on all of these factors, here's the score. The key to the score is trust it but verify. The higher the score, the more likely, not a guarantee. There's no guarantee that that's the case. So we got rid of the deal score, and the buyability is much more accurate now. So
right.
Couple quick things. I'll show it to you real fast, so because I know we're getting kind of low on time. The calculators are awesome. So as an investor, I don't like running numbers. I'm not a math guy. I know that I need to, but I don't like doing it. What I love about our software is it tells me what my MAO range is from 65 to 75%. And if I need to go to 80, I already know how to do it longhand. So what we do here is it's pulling all of the data from the card. So you have your estimated value. It's not an ARV. It's a little bit different because we're going to use comps instead. So we've got our estimated value at 287. So it automatically puts it in there. If you find after running comps that the 287 number is not right, it's more like 3.25, then you can just put in a custom value right here. So you don't have to be forced into that estimated value. You can change that the way you want. What do I mean by that? Well, when you're running a comp on a property, you're going to come right here, which is part of the property card. And what our software does is it immediately runs the 10 plus additional comps that make the most sense as long as they're there. It's looking for comparables in terms of the traditional, right? Same size, same age, roughly within the same location. Obviously, some more rural areas you have to expand, but typically the same neighborhood, same beds and baths, same style of property. And then the other key is, when did it most recently sell? So this property right here looks like the only comparable property, and neither one of them have done anything since the early 90s in terms of purchase or sales. So the idea is that this is the only property that's kind of like it. So when you don't get that comp, the estimated value is the one that I would go through. And it's an automated valuation model, which takes into consideration history, takes into consideration all of the sales. It also takes into consideration 3 or 4 other things Tyler was telling me, but I'm blanking now what it was. But it's actually looking at historical data as well as right now data, saying that this property, it's worth about 287. So in this case, because the comps came back with no comps whatsoever, and you're going to find that from time to time, I go with that estimated value. So comps are super duper easy. Let me just do this real quick. I want to show you guys one thing. You'll love this. Maybe, I hope. I'm just going to go into, let's go to Tampa. And let's just grab this property right here, 5152. All right. So I'm going to minimize this window. I'm going to click on comps, and this is what I wanted you to see. So I was working with one of our coaches, and her name is Stephanie. She's been doing this for a very long time. She's one of the best compers I've ever seen. She can do comps like there's no tomorrow. In fact, she was live a year and a half or 2 years ago up on stage in front of a couple hundred people doing comping, and she was crushing it. But she does it longhand. She does it old school, and she uses Zillow. That's how she does it. Nothing wrong with that, but it takes time and energy to do that. So a couple of nights ago, we were doing a live session, and she was doing comps. She spent almost 20 minutes and she could not get the comp to show up in Zillow. We took a property, we ran the, and it just didn't work. What I did was I took this and it's actually this property right here, this Denver property. I took the same address, but it took her 15, 16 minutes to even get close to a comp. And then there was no comp because the data was screwed up. Within 30 seconds of typing in the address, I had the top 10 comps plus 40 additional ones below. And then what you do here, this is really important. You typically know your markets, right? So if you've been doing this for any length of time, you kind of know your market. Stephanie knows this market because she's been doing it. She said she's never seen a comp come up so quick and so accurate in her life because she had run the comp earlier in the day. She was redoing the comp as an example, and the data was all screwed up. And it was actually this property right here, this Denver property, this 5123 Bryant, that was her comp. And this comp here is the one that is the most comparable to this property. So I got this in 30 seconds. It took her 15 minutes earlier in the day. Why is that important? Because you guys don't have time to comp properties all day long. If you've got 10 or 15 properties to look at, quickly throw in these addresses, find what the comps are, and then go to the ones you like. If you know your neighborhood and you know, hey, this one is not a good comparison, remove it. This one's not a good, remove it. Remove it. You can remove them. And then watch. You see this little guy right here? Every time you remove or add a comp, it's actually changing the value and it's doing an average. So we know that these comps are good. Plus, there's one other really cool thing. This little visual cue, the little red and green, this tells you their similarity. Ones that are like and not like. I love this. And when I got rid of those 5 comps, because there was 10, it didn't delete them. It just stuck them down in the bottom list. So if I wanted to, I could simply add them right back to the comps. So let me just do a quick recap. I showed you how to do a search and then to save it. Why are we saving it? Then I did a list. I showed you how to save it. We looked at all the filters. Why did we save it? Then we looked at a property card. We saw the comps. We saw the calculators. I showed you all the details on it. What other questions do you have for me? And I can skip trace it. Watch. Boom. I just skip traced it. If I can do a single skip trace, I can skip trace a whole list. If you have an account, it'll depend on how many skip traces you've got. And then if you need more, you can just add them to your wallet. Very simple. Oh, and then another thing, if I like this property, I think I want to buy it, hit get funding. It's already started my funding option for me. So now I just have to go in and answer the questions. How much do I need? What am I going to do with it? I'm going to flip it. I'm a pro, good at, and then what happens is you hit continue, it submits these details, and then they reach out to you here. And then one more funny story. At that live event that I was at a couple of weeks ago, I showed someone how to do this live up on stage. They were like, oh, show me your lenders, because there were other lenders. And so I did it and I hit continue, and then it submitted it. And then while I'm talking, all of a sudden my phone starts to ring. No lie, my phone started ringing. These people called immediately. And this was on a Saturday. So if you fill out a request, they're actually going to want to work with you. So just keep that in mind.
So Jesus, you want to unmute? You have a question? You're mute. I think you're muted.
Sorry about that.
There
Can
you
you hear
go.
me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey, Craig, this is light speeds ahead to where it was before. Just from playing around with it while you're going through it, it's been great. I will say one of the things that I'll highlight is I don't remember there being a linked properties where you're able to see the owner and see all the properties that owner has in the previous software. This is fantastic because
Yes.
then if I'm working with a property, if they have multiples, I don't want to send multiple letters to the same homeowner. So
Totally.
that's been great.
Yes. Owner info right here, linked properties right here. So this person only has one property.
Yes.
Let me show you guys one more thing. I think you'll love it. It's the buyer search. You got to check this buyer search out. Watch this. So the buyer search is just like a property search, just fewer filters. What I will tell you is the buyer search is a gold mine. Most folks struggle to find buyers. Well, a lot of folks struggle to find buyers, but a lot of newer folks struggle to know if the buyers in their market are even going to be interested in their properties. So what this does is this allows you to go collect a bunch of cash buyers, reach out to them and say, hey, if I come across a property, will you look at it? 9 out of 10 times they're going to be like, yeah, sure. They're also going to help you, right? So I'm sure Karen can look at your deal and say, hey, this is a great deal. But imagine your buyer, the person who's paying cash for property, says, hey, I like the deal, but you need to be here instead. Or, hey, man, what a great deal you got. It's an added confirmation when you work with buyers. So buyers is the same thing. I'm just going to do Tampa real quick. Tampa, Florida. I haven't added any filters except for the last 6 months, and I have currently 2,200 buyers. Can't see them, but trust me, they're there.
Yeah. Wow.
All of these people here are buyers. Now watch this. My filter. So here's my favorite filter for buyers. 3 properties, minimum of 3 properties. Why? If they own 2 properties, it's likely their own home and their vacation home. And there's nothing wrong with that. But a third home, that's an investment property 9 out of 10 times. So what I typically do is I will go back 6 months. You can go back up to 2 years. You can go as soon as 3 months. So if you've got a hot market and you're looking for who's buying within the last 90 days, you can go 3 months. The truth is 6 months is still very okay. Some areas out in Idaho, you got to go back a couple of years to find anything at all for any buyers. Then here's the linked property metrics. So this is the key. I don't care how much they have in holdings. I don't care what their total value is. I don't even care what their average cash purchase is. Although if I have a $300,000 property and their average cash purchase is $97,000, they're probably not going to be a very good buyer for me. So that's something to consider. What I really care about is the number of properties owned. Remember 3, 1, and 1. 3 is 3 properties owned minimum. 1 bought in the area. That tells you that they know that market, at least their own property. And then at least 1 cash purchase, because one of them could be a finance, their main property. So I always do 3 properties owned, 1 property bought within the search area, and 1 of them for cash. Now I could change that number, right? Maybe I've got too many results and I want to say, okay, well, what if we did 5? What will happen if we do 5 properties owned? Well, that was too many. Got rid of all my results. Oh, actually, no, it didn't. I'm sorry. It added some results. Now there's 544. So as you can see how many properties each one of these buyers has. Then you can say, well, what kind of property? Just like the property, we can go property type, single family, Maybe they like the multifamily too. Now we're down to 316. Let's get rid of multifamily. And now we're at 291. So just play with the numbers. The last one is the, there's one more here that I like. Oh, I can double stack the property types as well. And then some guys like zoning. And then I think there was one other. Yes, ownership information. If I wanted to add, okay, so this one's important. This isn't, this is where you're going to be able to see like a lot of individuals, but you're also going to see a lot of LLCs and corporations as well. So this would just be, I only want to look at individuals. The truth though is as an investor, I want to find buyers. So I'm going to leave it. And then I'm going to hit 291 results. Now I could say the search. Actually, I already have one of these as a search. Something like this. But I want to show you this. Oh, and then I've got to move this around. So number of properties owned right here. So I can see, like you were saying, Jesus, how many properties this Lazo Investments has 9. This FL Life Properties, it's a big company, has 2,600 properties. This one's got 40. Land Trust has 41. Open Door Property, huge, has 8,200. So the idea is that you can find all those linked properties. Owners are buyers that have more than one property that they own. And then you can identify the ones that you're specifically wanting to focus on. Like this person definitely buys 6 out of his 9 are in this area. 5 out of these 7 are in this area. So really, really powerful. And again, I'm only just scratching the surface of what it actually can do.
Yeah.
So
Craig, we had a couple questions. How frequent is the BuyAbility score updated?
whenever there's new data that's presented, it's one of those running totals like everything. So it's running and doing all of those data. So if a property is no longer a tired landlord, I mean, it's going to be, but if a property is no longer vacant, then what would happen is it's no longer showing vacant. What will happen is that BuyAbility score will reflect it. But what I would say is the BuyAbility score really is second or third in your look. It's really more of a, who should I focus on first? Especially if I've got 1,000 leads, who do I focus on first? That's how I would look at it.
Okay. And then how does stacking work on this new release?
Yeah, it is the key. So the way that stacking works is, so stacking is really just doing searches and then saving results. And then those results show up on more than one list, but not from the same search, right? So when I did this, the save search of this one here, I think I grabbed all of them. I just did the search when I pushed the button. Oh, I don't think I saved the result of the manufactured home one. So that's why it's showing up like this. Let me give you a better example. I think this one here. I can't remember which one gave me. Oh, my filter sets here are also a little bit screwed up. So the answer, to answer the question, wait, what was the question again? I lost my train of thought.
How
Sorry.
does stacking work on this new release?
Right. So the idea is that when you do a search, you're going to get some results. You save the search and then you save the result. If I did another search, not from the same search, say that one of them was pre-foreclosure and then one of them was based on vacant and then another one was based on probate. The truth is a property can be pre-foreclosure, probate, and vacant at the same time. But I don't want that to be my filter set. I want one to be vacant and then whatever filters, another one to be probate and whatever filters, etc. The properties that show up on this list, they're not all going to show up on this list again. But there will be some on this list, and then on this list. And then when you're looking at the property, what you'll notice is right here, you'll see it saved to 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 lists. So list stacking allows you to focus on the ones that are showing up the most. That's how it works.
And last question, is there a way to perform alerts for searches like you have saved like before?
Yeah, we don't have alerts anymore the way that we used to. I'm not sure why. It was just a decision, a business decision not to have those alerts. I think the list is probably the saving the search and then recreating the list is a little more proactive than the alerts, but we haven't had them return. So yeah, I can't speak exactly to it.
Yeah. So guys, this to me has been super helpful. I've played with this software, gosh, for up to 2 months now. And it's been super, super helpful. I will tell you, if you don't have this, get on your RIA's website. If you're an NC RIA member, go to our vendor list. Make sure you click on it there. If you don't, you won't get all the specials that we include. If you're part of any of the other RIAs, whether it's, Tim's RIA, Tim's got this on his website. If you're in Tim's area, you've got to go there and sign up. I would highly recommend doing this. I have actually used this software for going on 8 years. And it is pretty much where I find everything I do. And I've been doing real estate for 30 plus. I won't add how many plus, but 30 plus years. I will put my name and number, my email address in the chat. If you have questions that you did not get answered, we would love to answer them. So please just send those to me. If I can't answer them, I'll get with Craig,
Yes.
Tyler, or somebody that can help me answer it. Craig, thank you so much. We really appreciate you spending this time with us.
Yeah.
Guys, please go out and do this. I think you will save yourself a lot of time, effort, and money, and you're going to find those deals that other people are not finding. So thank you, guys. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you have a great night. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody. I appreciate your time. Thank you for listening.
Thanks, Craig.
Yeah. Alrighty. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.